comradely greetings from Green Left, of course, of the Eco-Socialist organisation and network in the Green Party. And, you know, for a long time, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe more years, Green Left and Social Resistance have had a relationship, organised events and done practical stuff. So we think of particular projects like the work we're doing in Coalition Against Resistance, the Coalition of Resistance.
The cuts.
You know, and the Hugo Blanco tour, I got that bit right anyway. And, you know, it's 2 eco-socialist networks and we've worked together, and I think that's really great, and I think it's good to be able to work despite political differences and coming from different places. Personally, you know, I'd like to really emphasise the value I see in social resistance work on eco-socialism, and I'd like to also pick out the work of the Fourth International on eco-socialism to say that to understand the ecological crisis and the climate crisis, we need a Marxist analysis, and that, you know, if we look at the Green Movement hasn't had an analysis of property and, you know, a small number of people dominating and controlling, hasn't had an analysis of capitalism. But on the other hand, in the 20th century, most of the left still had a productivist, industrialist alternative, which was perhaps no real alternative. And organisations like the Fourth International have gone back to Marx and Engels and looked at the kind of ecological politics in Marx and Engels. And also I would like to pick out the contribution of the Fourth International section in the Philippines, the Revolutionary Workers' Party, who've really stressed and emphasised eco-socialism and built that. And I think all eco-socialists have to have solidarity with those people and the leadership they've given. Also, it's worth noting that today there's the Eco-Socialist Conference in New York, and that's involved the International Socialist Organisation, who call themselves Eco-Socialists, has involved members of the Fourth International, has got some Greens, even including Jill Stein, who I believe ran for the Greens in the presidential election. So I think that's something that we can take as inspiration. Times are very, very tough though. Climate change is here. Essentially, nothing is being done about it. CO2 is rising. We see an assault from the right wing on everything, a kind of permanent revolution from the right. If we look at the left in the UK, the left is perhaps the weakest it's been since the 1870s. So we've got to organise and unite and move forward. We've got to think about both theory and practice. And I think with theory, that sometimes there's a kind of idea that we can do away with theory, that theory gets in the way and theories complicate things, but we do need to do theoretical work and analysis. Marx famously said that if essences were the same as appearances, there'd be no need for science, but we need to analyse as scientifically as we can what's going on and move forward. The problem is that quite often theory has just been used symbolically as kind of boundary maintenance, that you use it as a way of saying how you're different from other groups in a sectarian way. So we must never do that, but we do need to think theoretically. In terms of practice, we need to look practically at how we unite people, build capacity, make links internationally, and looking at the way that the right are mobilising in Latin America. You know, that's one area where we should have practical solidarity. So I'm very privileged to be here. I'll stop now and thank you for listening to me.